So it's been about a week. I had to wait for the oils to dry. And then, off camera, I once again masked everything off and sprayed some all-clad lacquer semi-gloss onto it. I think it's called Light Sheen to get a nice satiny gloss on all the satiny bits like this and everything else. Now, wasn't sure if lacquer was a good idea. I know I said that acrylic was supposed to be bad. However, I did use acrylic on some of the other parts, figuring that it's so thin, hopefully it won't matter. But I really couldn't find anything on using lacquer. I think that would be actually worse, but at the moment it's fine. We'll see what happens in a few years. So, masked that off, sprayed it, pulled off all the mask. So that's drying, working on the last few bits here, like the face and the ears. That is all has to be matte, and it has to be black. So repainting that with paint, using black mixed with a little bit of light gray because I didn't want it pure black. And working on his eyebrows now. And I'm going to screw this up, I know, because I'm going to be talking and trying to paint thin little lines. I'm not even going to try to go around the nose area that I already painted on camera because I know I'm going to screw it up, but the eyebrows are indented. But I'm going to screw this up probably. That's fine because I plan on just going over it again with the black and cleaning it up. And I'm using steel, Vallejo Game Color Steel Gray here. Not doing a terrible job. Like I said, we can clean it up afterwards. It'll be easier doing it that way. And then I just have to go around the nose, and we can move on to one of the final spots. Okay, it's finally time to wrap this project up, and got just some final things to do. Head all together. Look at that, very Adam West-ish. Now, when I put on the mask, there's a seam line running down here, which it does match the one on the top of the cowl. So you can leave it there if you want. However, I decided to fill it in with some epoxy putty. And now I need to repaint the face mask. And hopefully I don't have to reapply the epoxy putty, because then I won't be finishing this tonight then. Other little minor thing. I got the belt together. Now, the flaps to the belt, make sure you put them on the bottom because they open from underneath, not from the top. And despite knowing that, I still put them on wrong. Don't know what the hell happened. But I got those fixed. Of course, they were fused on. Whenever you want to take something apart, it doesn't come apart easily. But I had to pull those off, turn them around, and get them into place. The belt buckle, which is brass, I believe, did my best to match the colors. That's the closest I can get. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the exact color to match the decals that come with the kit. And I painted the little buttons on the belt, which I got to go back and repaint those yellow. I assumed little snap buttons, metal. No, actually the belt 100% yellow. Everything is yellow, so I got to go back and change those. But other than that, I think. Well, let me fix these things, then we'll go on to the next part. All right, have to do the emblems now on the belt and the chest, and the kit actually gives you an option. It gives you decals, and it also gives you a more child-friendly option, stickers. I'm actually going for the stickers here. Couple reasons for that. The emblem on his chest in the show absolutely looks just like a sticker they put it on. So I'm going to go with that. And also, the stickers are going to be a bit more intense in color than the decals. So, like the belt emblem, for example, there's the sticker and there's the decal. The sticker actually has a bit more reflection to it. And also, if I don't like the stickers, I can just peel them off and use the decals. If I don't like the decals, they're a little bit harder to get off. So, just gotta line these up. And luckily, this is a good fit. Stickers, done. And the belt one fit perfectly. The one on the chest, the area that I sanded down where the emblem goes is just slightly larger than the sticker. Now that could be because I did sand it down, but if you're going to use the sticker, I left a bit of the raise where it's supposed to go so I can know where the sticker can go. But if you're going to take it off at home, take off the entire thing, sand it all the way down perfectly smooth, so it will fit a little bit better. And I'm hoping this is going to stick. You know what? I don't think it's going to stick. Keeps seeming to pry up a little bit. I think if I heat it up, it might conform a bit better. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go get a hairdryer and give it a shot. Using the hairdryer for the sticker seemed to help a little bit, but we're going to move on. If that sticker comes off later, I could always just, reattach it. And I'm going to start gluing everything together. Need to scrape off the paint so I get a good bond. And not sure what I'm going to use to glue it together with yet. Standard, like Tamiya, extra thin, is just too thin for these recessed joints. We can go with something thicker. I could use old-fashioned Tamiya, or not Tamiya, Testors tube glue, but you have to be really careful with that. If you put too much on, especially in like a recessed cavity, it continues to heat up. One of the first kits I built actually was the Enterprise, and I put a big old glob of glue in the body of the ship. 2 weeks later, I noticed that there was a giant bulge because the glue eventually ate through the hull, basically. And so I had these sacks hanging from the bottom of my Enterprise. And here is the base. Base I'm not putting a huge amount of effort into because there's several other figures in this line, and so I'm going to repaint all the bases when I get to the end. So tune in about 3 years for that video. But did real quickly with some Badger Minotaur paints. First rock, then what we use, concrete slab, very rocky stuff we're using, and dusty ground. Got a theme going. And then I covered it all, well, I glossed it first with a acrylic gloss varnish, because then I airbrushed some of my streaking grime on it. And now we just have to wipe it all off. And yeah, I'm using brown over gray because the brown will tint the gray, and of course that embedded dirt color in rocks, so it works even though we're using different colors here. So easy peasy there. I just have to let this dry for a couple days and then coat it with a flat varnish, and it'll be ready to go. So we are on the final step. Yay! I got glued everything together. I ended up using the Testors tube glue, which worked pretty well. Just had to scrape everything off. And obviously, working on the rope now, which I'm sure it's going to be more difficult than I was thinking. The battering, by the way, is just straight black. I did end up putting a gloss on it. And then I tied a fishing line knot to it. I couldn't figure out how to exactly tie it. On the kit, they just show you just tie a knot through the other side, which looked really fakey. The only shot of the battering I could find on the show that was tied up, it had like a little metal bar on the other side, and it was just wrapped up in a mess, but that was one that was being tossed. So I don't think that was like the actual, I don't know if there was an official knot for the show, but it looked yucky. So I kind of just made my own here. But the twine that comes with the kit, originally I was going to redo this with wire, but I realized it'd just be too stiff to work with. But this twine is okay. I did wet it before doing this. Unfortunately, it's drying out too fast. But I wet it to get rid of some of the kinks. and so it made it a bit more malleable. We're actually not doing too bad here. I may have to re-wet it again once I get everything in place, just so I can make sure it's bending in a real gravity situation. I hope I don't run out of room in the hand here. I think this is going to be the last loop. There we go. That's not too bad. I'll just leave it hanging out there. There's our Batman. And with the rope done, the project's done. Yes! Finished! Yay! I can throw away the box now. So, let's talk about our finished Moebius Models 1/8 scale Batman here. Give you the whole look. I really need to stop building models that I can't fit entirely onto camera. But I guess we'll just start with the head here. I like how the oils came out for the face. I do need a lot more work with them. Face definitely could be better. I did end up dull coating the face, mainly because I wanted a bit more contrast difference between the glossy cape and cowl against his face. Figure look a bit better dull, and there hasn't been any cracking there. The purple for the cowl, the gloves, and all the other parts, I probably could have gone a little bit more purple. I thought I could have gone a lot more purple, but now that I actually have it all together, there is, I don't know if it's coming out on camera. My camera, at least the viewfinder, doesn't show purples very well, but there is a very noticeable difference between the cowl and the cape, which is what I wanted. Before putting it all together, I wasn't too sure about that. And so mostly the colors came out pretty good. The worst part of this kit was just doing the, all the sanding, all the prep work, just to get it all done. The sticker on the chest is not sticking very well. I'm going to leave it for now, and if necessary, I'm going to peel it off and apply some sort of glue. I don't know what I'm going to use yet, because I don't want to use, if I use super glue and a little spot of it gets, leaks out, the kit's ruined. So I don't want to do that. Let's go down a little bit. The base, whoops. The base didn't come out that great. The streaking grind that I used on it was a bit too dark for the straight gray that I used, because I use a cool gray. I should have used a warm gray and use a slightly lighter brown. But as I said, I'm going to repaint all the bases when I get to the end of this several-year project. So there we go. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the build. It was pretty fun for me. Remember, this is my very first large-scale figure kit. Before this, I think the largest kit I ever worked on was, was it even just 54 millimeter? I don't think I've even done a finished 120 millimeter kit. So this is a big step up for me. I probably could have done a little bit more highlighting on him. As I mentioned, when you go up in scale, you want to reduce the highlights, but I think I reduced them too much. Even my small scale stuff, I don't go extreme highlighting on. So the regular highlights I use on a 28mm figure, I could have possibly done, well, I would have to tone it down slightly, but I could have done something similar on here rather than just going for super light on the highlights and the contrasts. Which means the oils that I used for the non-face areas might not have been necessary. I think I may just go back to acrylics and the airbrush for the rest of the figures in the kit and reserve just the oils for the face. Let's zoom in there on the face. Get a little closer. There we go. He does look a little bit cross-eyed, but that's because of the cowl. Even in the show, I've noticed that Adam West looks cross-eyed when he's wearing the cowl because of the darkened area near his nose on the inside of the eyes. But there we go. There's the Batman. Next will be the Catwoman. I'm going to take a little break, do something else in between that one, because the Catwoman should be fairly easy. I mean, it's just the face, and then it's all the black cat suit. And trying to figure out how to get that sparkle on the cat suit will be difficult, but I have a plan in mind already. But we're going to wait a little bit, build some other things, and then we'll move on to her. So, as always, thank you for watching. Where is he?
Thieves, look out. Thugs, beware. Killers, watch out. Wrongdoers, don't dare. In the deepest dark of night, he waits for the danger. One man's holy flight, evil's only true avenger.
Deep within the bowels of the city, a solitary dark